James Carter woke before the sun, like he did every morning. His small alarm clock buzzed softly, but he was already half awake, he often was. Dreams of Melissa, his late wife, came like flickers in a storm. Sometimes soft, sometimes overwhelming. On this particular morning, he dreamt of her singing Ava to sleep, her voice a melody the world no longer had. He sat on the edge of the bed, rubbing his eyes. The room still smelled faintly of her lavender perfume. Her coat hung on the back of the door. He hadn't had the heart to move it. In the kitchen, Ava was already up, coloring at the table. "Daddy, look. I drew you as a superhero." He smiled, genuinely. "With a cape and everything?" "Yep. Because you fix cars and you fix my cereal." She grinned, her two front teeth missing. The innocence of a child, that was his anchor. The roads were half iced, the sun barely climbing over the Indiana horizon. James' pickup truck, old and wheezing, grumbled like it was begging to retire. On the way to the auto shop, James spotted a car pulled over on the side of the highway. A sleek silver BMW. One rear tire completely flat. A woman stood beside it, pacing. Designer coat, high heels, not someone used to this kind of inconvenience. He pulled over, got out, and called over, "Need a hand?" She turned, startled. "Roadside's delayed. I've got a meeting in Chicago. It's kind of important." James knelt beside the car, already pulling tools from his truck. "No worries. I'll get you back on the road." "Are you sure?" "It's freezing." He looked up, smiling. "I've changed tires in worse." She introduced herself as Elizabeth. As he worked, they spoke. Not just small talk, real conversation. He told her about Ava. About Melissa. About working 2 jobs, and how he was trying to save for piano lessons for his daughter. There was something about the way he spoke, without bitterness, without complaint, that unsettled her. She was used to people wanting something. But James expected nothing. When the job was done, she offered money. He refused. "Just do something kind for someone else," he said, "that's worth more." Back in Chicago, Elizabeth's mind wasn't on her investors or stock prices. It was on James. She had built an empire, but lately, she had started to wonder what it was all for. Her father, a retired mechanic, had passed away the year before. James reminded her of him, hard-working, humble, full of quiet dignity. She couldn't let it go. She tracked down the garage through a few phone calls, and when she saw James' name listed under the staff directory, she wrote the letter. The $250,000 wasn't charity, it was respect. It was gratitude. And maybe, it was redemption. James was under a truck hood when she arrived. "James Carter?" she asked. He wiped his hands on a rag. "Miss Rowe." She extended her hand. "I came to say thank you. In person." James was stunned. They sat in the small break room over instant coffee. She handed him a folder. "Job offer, house relocation, schooling package for Ava." James shook his head, overwhelmed. I fix things. I don't belong in a city skyscraper." "You belong where people like you are needed," she said gently. "And we need honest hands. And your daughter deserves more." Tears welled in his eyes, but he held them back. "Melissa, she always wanted Ava to play piano." Elizabeth smiled. "Let's make that happen." Life in Chicago wasn't easy at first. The noise, the speed, the new routines. Ava cried the first week in her new school. James struggled with the smart tools in the high-tech garage. But slowly, things settled. Ava made friends. She played her first piano piece in school, Beethoven's Ode to Joy. James stood at the back of the auditorium, hands in pockets, heart full. Elizabeth became a regular visitor. Sunday dinners turned into shared holidays. She laughed more now, real laughter. One snowy evening, as Ava played beside the fireplace, James looked at Elizabeth and said, "I used to think miracles were fairy tales. But then you came along." Elizabeth replied, "You were the miracle, James. I just returned the favor." Years passed. Ava grew. She won music scholarships. Played on TV. Opened a foundation for children of single parents to learn music. James finally took a vacation, with Ava, to Melissa's favorite lake. They spread wildflowers there, her favorite. "We made it, Mel," he whispered to the wind. Elizabeth published her memoir, dedicating it to "the man who gave more than he ever had, and taught me what real success looks like." At Ava's grand recital in New York, the hall was full. The applause, thunderous. Backstage, Ava hugged her father. "You were my first stage, Daddy." He smiled through tears. "And you've always been my greatest song." Kindness doesn't need recognition. But sometimes, when the world isn't watching, it writes a story so beautiful that it echoes for generations.